Hey everyone. I know I haven't been here in a while. Let me move this closer. So, there's been a lot that's been happening to me in the last few weeks. So, on October 17th, my dad passed away. We were kind of expecting it. We knew this was coming. But I honestly thought that I was going to be more emotionally prepared. I didn't think it was going to affect me as much as it affected me. So that's that. I guess I'll have to share more with all of you what that experience was like. Now's not the time for that though. However, I do want to share something that I wrote back in August that's called The Utility of Pain, and luckily I have it written here for me. Otherwise I tend to veer off as I usually do. That's like my trademark. So anyway, let's go ahead and let's begin. I start off here by actually writing down, it's hard to begin. It's pretty funny. Usually, thoughts suddenly appear to me and create certain feelings. I use those feelings to either move towards, away, or around the initial thought, while not being persuaded by other emerging thoughts that can very quickly pull me away and steer me down different paths, as you guys know very, very well. In any case, I'll begin where I am now, on this venture regarding pain and question its utility. Pain is not always enjoyable, right? But isn't it funny how sometimes it can be? It can cause an interesting form of pleasure. Sometimes it even feels great to let out some of that steam that was created by the pain or the suffering, such as throwing or breaking things. Although we abstain from this release usually, especially in the presence of others, because it would just be too sinful to explode in such a manner. One must not forget that even though they are classified as intelligent animals, they must remain intelligent at all times, rational. To reject pain and name it as unnecessary would be foolish, though, since our very presence, birth, required pain. Also, it is my own opinion, of course, right? All of this is just my opinion. I could be entirely wrong, but let's continue. It's my own opinion that people form the strongest bonds through shared pain, perhaps even more than sex. The reason I say this is because many will have sex and no bond will necessarily have formed, or at least not strong enough to hold them together after this happened. But pain? A moment where suffering was at the center stage for both individuals and they shared this? Even if that event doesn't occur to them at the same time and happened at different periods of their lives, but just to know that each of them has had their fair share of servitude in the name of pain. And that's the thing. That it can be shameful sometimes to share that you were once a slave and at the mercy of a stronger power that left you in self-pity, vulnerable, and perhaps with a distorted vision of yourself for a while or permanently. Those things are embarrassing sometimes. In the case of two complete strangers, when sex happens, perhaps these strangers will forever remain as strangers and will even try to avoid eye contact on the street if they happen to bump into each other after that. However, if these two strangers might have experienced some tragedy together at the same time, at the same moment, then, they might at least make eye contact or wave at each other if they happen to bump into each other after that. Now, in the case of two friends, this might still be the case, but what changes is that if one of them has not faced the same amount or degree of pain or suffering as the other, it's as if they're living in two different time zones. They may still use sex to bond and try to form a meaningful connection between them, but there will always be like this entire layer, this room, this floor, whatever you wish to call it, that just will remain untouched because pain is required to enter. And why is that? Well, to see things the way they see them. And I personally am more interested in depth. And I don't think one can get there by any other means. Because I think many of these other ways are perhaps too superficial. Too superficial. But pain. I mean, I know there's a gigantic price to pay. But man, you can form some serious bonds through that. To me, depth looks like a dark hole that I wish to follow because it will take me somewhere that my intuition tells me is far more meaningful. And perhaps that's just a me thing. Curiously though, like depth, people will also at times even seek pain. Even if this act makes no sense to them at the moment, it's irrational. Think about this. I bet we would even beg for pain if it were the only emotion left to experience and all others were removed by some awful curse. If they gave you the option to remove pain or suffering from your life, would you say yes? If yes, I give it time before that person regrets the decision. Just like any immortal character, fictional character, has regretted their wish for immortality. So that's that.